Alive, oh, alive, oh. This stream is alive, oh. Locust Trooper, straight out of the gate. How you doing, buddy? It's a fine, what is it, Tuesday evening now. And good evening to you as well, Megaleech. Nice to see you, Daniel. Nice to be back. Had a lot of fun last night. I always have fun on the live streams. But I feel like I did things a little bit differently last night, and it worked quite well. So just happy with that, and we'll see how tonight goes. And in fact, one of the things I liked about last night is I dredged out some of my favorite old internet posts. I might dredge some more up tonight. Locust Trooper, everything going good this week for a first. Let's roll with that, man. Let's roll with that. No stupid stuff. Rolling with you are having a good week. You're going to keep having a good week. Hello, Catherine. How are you this fine evening? Back on my blood orange juice. It's such a strong sort of coloring and flavoring. There's like big pint glass. Only about that much is blood orange juice. The rest is lemonade. It's a bit strong on its own. But it's nice. And it's good in cocktails too. And I've got a plan. I might talk through. I often use you find people as a sounding board for my plans, and I've got to do. Well, I don't got to. I'm planning to do a video for the end of the weekend. Friday's Martini Day, apparently. So I'm thinking that's an easy one. I'll do some martinis. And everyone can learn a bit about martinis for the weekend. About Trump being more entertaining. He said a thing in a press conference that there wouldn't be so many cases in America if they weren't testing people. It's terrifying how stupid that guy is, and that he's suffered such a cognitive impairment. I think it's a series of mini strokes that he just got no sort of internal editor. Don't say that. That's really fucking dumb. It's just like brain fart after brain fart just keeps coming out of that guy. Invisible Chicken, hello. Locust Trooper, I think Trump is severely cognitively impaired. And again, someone his age and physique, he is somewhat physically impaired as well, as we saw with that really weird video of him going down a ramp that he found very scary. Which is not to put anything. Joe Biden is fucked, man. Joe Biden is just not there. Zvan, that's the polite way of describing Trump. Unfiltered by common sense, unfiltered by basic human decency. Yeah, he's unfiltered. That's what he is. But I don't know, America, it's just like, what the fuck? These are such fucking strange times to live through. I mean, in my youth, we were all paranoid about dying in an instant in nuclear war. And then there was a decade or two where that fear wasn't front and center. Now we're staring down the barrel of a long, drawn-out but inevitable collapse of human civilization, which is depressing as fuck. Like Shrubber, not boring. There is what's reputed to be an ancient Chinese saying, "May you live in interesting times." But no one's sure if that's meant to be a blessing or a curse. You know, on the one level, we say, I don't want to be bored. But, you know, shit gets a bit too interesting from time to time. So, yeah, it is without doubt interesting times that we live in. Something weird and stupid happens every 5 fucking minutes. So this is just the times we live in, and we must struggle on as best we can. We don't really have a choice when it comes down to it. Just looking something up because today, as I've named this live stream, is the birthday of the roller coaster. The first ever roller coaster was opened at Coney Island on this day. It was modeled after mine carts, and at its most exciting, reached a grand speed of 10 kilometers an hour, aka brisk walking pace. And of course, roller coasters were popular and got wilder and wilder over time. Svan, you were watching Louis Rossmann looking for a house on YouTube near New York. Literally captured a random fight breakout near one of them. And it's creepy how many American flags are on people's front gardens. Yeah, if you're not a raving nationalist, the behavior of raving nationalists is really unsettling. Like a trooper, you reckon it's your generation, the millennials' fault? Whereas with Gen X, we can just sit it out and go, you know what? We were fucking slackers. We didn't do anything. Fuck you all. Oh no. The elections, as in the US presidential election and everything is a roller coaster. So when I found out today was the birthday of the roller coaster, I just thought, yep, that's a metaphor for this year. David, weird, stupid things happened before the internet was around to tell us about them all. You are absolutely right. And being of a similar vintage to me, do you ever think back and marvel at how urban legends and we'd call them memes now. We didn't have computers to share memes, but I just remember phrases and expressions would spread virally everywhere, and people would tell the same or a very similar story in completely different parts of the country, in completely different parts of the world. And there'd be a response to something that would mysteriously be everywhere. And you'd get sort of minor regional variations of it. And that was all without the internet. Stuff still spread everywhere. Urban legends, conspiracies, pop culture, like, again, not mass media pop culture. Okay, here is a really stupid one that I remember. There was a thing when I was in high school, someone a wanker, you wouldn't just do a jerking motion, you'd make a noise like they were really horny. And in fact, just the jerk off motion wasn't very common before this became popular. And so we had this thing where you'd make this weird squeaking noise, like like you were some weird fucking depraved sex fiend. And then I went on holidays sort of up the North Coast, just so far away from where I was living, and these local lads at a video arcade, and one of them was doing to his friend, and there was slightly different. He was doing the jerking motion, but he was doing a spitting noise, and I just remembered going, oh, same but different. Weird. And shit like that would spread everywhere, even without the internet. There you go. Ah, yes, David. Oh, yeah, like me. Well, I'd used computers in high school. I didn't get on the internet till mid '90s, because there was a period where you had to be at a university to get on it, and then the first commercial ISPs opened in Australia. Zvan, you love how well the Murdoch Empire has managed to generationally segregate us over stupid decisions, which will bankrupt others. Yeah. The Murdoch Empire has proven to be very, very adept at propaganda thing. Ah, David, you see urban legends and schoolyard, and yes, in the early days of the internet, FAQ text files on ASCII Gamer BBSs. Oh yes, for you kids, this is one that you might not even be familiar with. It's kind of proto-internet. It wasn't the World Wide Web. There's what was called bulletin boards, where someone would set up a computer that was essentially the server, and if you had the number, you could dial into it, and you could connect to various files. You could upload and download files. So there was a lot of pirating going on. There'd be chat on a lot of the BBSs. And it was like proto-internet. It was incredibly localized internet because you were physically dialing into someone's computer that they had set up to be a server. And so it was very, very localized. And of course, they got just royally swept aside by the internet when the internet took off. Like, it should be, you're not that young, 33. Seems young to me, young fella. David, with dial-up, about 7 p.m. could never get on. Oh, yes, auto dial. Fuck me. Yeah, because there were limited connections, and you had to have auto dial going to reconnect and reconnect and reconnect. Jesus. Asvan, you're 32 and remember BBSs. Yes, news groups were the part of the early text internet. MUDs. Yes. Oh, yes. Use Telnet to get into MUDs, multi-user dungeons, online gaming. Yes. Yes. Invisible Chicken, was it more like an intranet? It's more like a wide area network. It's not quite a LAN, more a wide area network. But yeah, to an extent like an intranet. But yeah, if I was going to be nerdy, I'd say it's more like a WAN. But it's like the internet, but in microcosm. So, because that's essentially what we're doing to the internet. We're connecting to a whole succession of servers that feed around, whereas the BBSs, you were dialing into one specific server, and there'd be a limited number of people who could get on. Yes, Locust Trooper. Porn was very difficult in the dial-up days because someone had called the house and interrupt your connection, and it took a long time. God, video downloads faster than pictures used to. So times they are a changing. Oh yes, David, IRC. I used IRC back in the day. In fact, that was how I met the mother of my offspring. She was in Melbourne, I was in Sydney. Relay chat. So internet dating before internet dating was a thing. So there you go. Yes, Van, I do remember the Terry Pratchett Discworld MUD. Yes. Unsurprisingly, Terry Pratchett being very popular with nerds. Yes. Man, I love the Discworld series, particularly as they went on. I know people who'd never read them who liked to disparage them, and it was always people who'd never read them. saying like Terry Pratchett's flogging a dead horse. He's just churning out, because there were dozens of Discworld books. He put them out at quite a rate, but I could tell the people doing this criticism, he's just, it's a cash cow, he's flogging a dead horse, blah, blah, blah. And I could tell they'd never read any, because while these books were all in the Discworld and they had recurring characters, the breadth of them was so huge. And what he was doing more and more as he went on, he was exploring our world. He was, again, the best science fiction and fantasy is actually an exploration of our world with a different lens on it. And so there's a bit of displacement. And Terry Pratchett was very good at examining social systems and political systems and power structures, and through this safe, cutesy fantasy world. But it was really, really insightful analysis of our world in the Discworld books. David, you did GeoCities and ICQ. Never really did GeoCities, but I did do ICQ. Locust Trooper. That's when I started YouTube. First high-speed internet via, the Foxtel cable. That was when I started YouTube, because it's like, I finally have broadband internet. I can play with video now. So yeah, it's fun. It was world building, but what it mostly was showing us our world through this really different fantasy world. But it was all about our, sometimes explicitly, like some of the later ones, the invention of the post office in Discworld and the invention of money on the Discworld, as in fiat currency, not exchanging bits of gold and silver, that was directly modeled on exactly how those things were developed in our world. Yeah, Kirsten, the Discworld books are all really different. Catherine, can't work out if there's a way to watch full screen and be able to chat on the same device without exiting full screen. I don't think you can chat if you've got the thing in full screen. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think you would be able to. Yeah, Zvan, that is true. You could tell the style of the Discworld books did change noticeably. Like the first ones were just frivolous, fun Dungeons and Dragons type fantasy comedy, but he started to explore deeper ideas pretty quickly. Like Strip used to be like, well, I was blogging for a year or two before I started my YouTube channel. I was trying to be funny on blogs, and so a lot of my early YouTube videos were actually stuff I'd written out on my blog. I kind of abandoned the blog years ago. But yes, it's every now and then I think of getting back into it, and then I can't be bothered. But yeah, you never know. There's just a limited number of things I can coach. Like, my first computer I bought for myself with my own money was an IBM SX33, because they just got cheap because Pentiums had just come out. So this is Windows 3.1. I upgraded it from an SX33, so that was a 33 megahertz processor, not gigahertz, megahertz. It had 4 megabytes of RAM. Again, not gigabytes, megabytes of RAM. I upgraded from an SX33 processor to a DX66 processor. When it's since, but the first computers I played on were like a TRS-80 that had a cassette tape drive to load programs, and there was an Apple II in my high school where I did some very basic programming on it. And over the years, I played on like a Commodore 64, an Amiga, But the first one I owned myself was just an IBM. My first Windows 95 computer, I probably upgraded my first computer to Windows 95. I can't remember, dude. So long ago. I know I had a guy back then, and he would build me computers. So he might have built me a more high-powered Windows 95 computer. I don't remember. L3, good evening, by the way. Sorry if I don't say good evening sooner. Ooh, Kirsten. Oh, that's right. This came out in another chat. You're a theatre kid. Yeah. Yes, you were in some Terry Pratchett plays. Invisible Chicken, did I ever see the Castaway screensaver? That sounds familiar. I can't quite place it, but it sounds familiar. There's a guy stuck on a small island. My object of desire was that screensaver pack that had like the flying toasters and whatnot in it. Not that I like the flying toasters, but the people who did the flying toasters released this pack of screensavers, and there was 20 or 30 of them. And there were some really good ones in there. I really like them. Oh, Kirsten, I actually had a couple of questions for you in your area of expertise. Oh, Mr. Gonzo, thank you. The After Dark screensavers. Yes, that's what they were called. After Dark. Oh my God, they were just I never had the official ones. They were a real object of desire for me. I think I had some. They were either hacked copies or someone had programmed an imitation of them, but they weren't legitimate ones. So now, Kirsten, I've got to ask you a question. Talking about locally produced spirits, and you can get some like Starward in Dan Murphy's, and Starward and other distillers, not all of them, but I think a lot, if not most of them, are selling directly through their websites at the moment. Does an independent distiller make noticeably more from direct sales than they would from sales through an outlet like Dan Murphy's? In my head, I think they probably make a lot more, but there's probably all sorts of things I don't know about. So I was intrigued and wanted to know. And good evening, Stella. Nice to see you. Asking the big questions about booze distribution and sales. Because inquiring minds, namely mine, want to know. I was just intrigued as to how the system works, because my very brief exposure to supply chain logistics showed me it's much more complex than most people think. Like, Stripper, I'm not going to watch Dragon Ball Z. I thought I made that clear, which is not really a judgment on Dragon Ball Z. It's just that without exaggeration, there would be more than 100 shows that were higher on my list of priorities than Dragon Ball Z. It's just the way it is. There is too much media to consume. Okay, that's kind of the answer I expected, Kirsten. Dan Murphy's, he's only in it for Dan Murphy's. So direct is best. Yep. So when Dan Murphy's or any other chain, like, if there's Woolworths or Coles and their bottle shops, if they do a discount, and sometimes they're doing $10 or $20 off a bottle of booze, are they the ones swallowing that price cut, or does that actually knock back to the distiller and distributor and they say, hey, to raise the profile of your beverage, we're going to sell it at a $10 discount this week, which means we're going to pay you $10 less? Or do they pay the distributor the same and the retailer just actually eats the discount? That's another thing that I'm aware of, Megaleech. And that goes for everything. If a manufacturer wants to sell their own goods, retailers often complain about undercutting them. So manufacturers often don't sell any cheaper than the retailers do. Svan, you know someone who owns part of the Chambers Vineyard. They do a lot of volume to those guys. Well, Kirsten actually works for a distillery. Yes. Yeah, that's what I thought, Kirsten. The technical aspect of direct sales are very complex. This was years ago, I worked for National Foods. They're a dairy company. And I was working on their logistics software, like I was on the IT side. And so I had to get some familiarity with the entire supply chain from the farm to a truck to a dairy to another truck to supermarkets. And that's where I got an insight into how complex sales is. Both production, logistics, and sales is just wildly complicated. Like, Strip, have I seen posts podcast? I think you mean with Isaac Butterfield talking to Bering that proves Isaac Butterfield. No, I don't go out of my way to really get to know what's going on with Isaac Butterfield. But I thank you for sharing the information with me, because now I really don't have to. I tell you, there's a really funny guy who's super good at antagonizing right-wingers. He goes by various names, including Tom Tanuki, and he really wound up Isaac Butterfield. And Isaac Butterfield got upset and said, "Oh, he said I'm a fascist." And Tom Tanuki came back, "Dude, I didn't say you're a fascist. I didn't say anything like it. I don't think you're a fascist. I think you're a dickhead. I think you're boring. I think you're a hack. I think your material sucks." He's super good at getting under the skin of right wingers, and it's quite funny to see. Like, he had a Facebook group a couple of years ago when all those fucking right wing cockheads were around in Australia, the Patriots Front, and he invented a group called Million Flag Patriots, because you were not a real patriot unless you had a million flags. And he had this logo that was just like this hyper Australian flag. And he had some media people thinking he was real, and a lot of the right wingers super pissed off at the way he was taking the piss out of him. But he is supremely good at annoying the shit out of right wingers. He started a group called YARD, which is an acronym that stands for Yelling at Racist Dogs. And they were just showing up, like when those high profile right wingers were touring Australia, they'd just show up to the venue where they were, and they wouldn't try and stop it, and they wouldn't try and disrupt. They didn't argue for banning. They would just stand outside, and there's people going, and just they were yelling. They would just yell at these people that they're racist fucking dogs. Shit, it was funny, because it was very silly. It was very silly, and it was very funny. Kirsten, okay, steals to the advantage of the retailer. Often the supplier will pay for those consumer discounts. It's way worse when you worked in laundry power. Oh, I've heard it's way worse in supermarkets. Yes. Okay. I'm so glad I've got your insights, Kirsten, because that's what you've said is kind of what I thought was how it worked. But I wasn't sure. So someone who actually works in the field is very good. Oh yeah, and good point. Anything in their catalogs the position's been bought, and only the majors have the money for that. Mr. Gonzo, what do I make of this business of police rights in America? It's pretty fucking full on, brother. That's what it is. It's pretty fucking full on. It's amazing to see how much the ground's shifting, because I'm absolutely stunned that the cops, in the face of protests about police brutality, with so many cameras on them, just repeatedly and brutally indulged in excessive acts of brutality again and again and again and again. Yeah, Mr. Gonzo, you're not wrong that America particularly could do well from focusing on class issues. Just that I think the race issues are more in your face. And I think it is important, as a white dude who focuses on class issues when looking at politics. Yes, another mysterious figure came in to get something out of the fridge. I think it's important, as a white dude who focuses on class issues when dealing with politics, to recognize and understand the experience of non-white straight males in exactly the same environment as me is different. And to just say, it's all about class and I know what it is and it's this and it's class, and to not listen when women, queer people, people of color tell you, you know what, it's my experience is actually different to yours. And you say you're for the downtrodden. A lot of people in your position have hurt me as much as the authoritarians are. If you're not intersectional, as the saying goes, I think you are missing very important points. And you do get a lot of people who are self-proclaimed left, and particularly radical left, who belittle the idea of intersectionality, and they'll talk about identity politics, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, why the fuck are you not listening to people whose entire life is different to yours, and they're telling you their actual lived experience and saying, that shit you say, that's not what figures most in my life. I have to worry, again, speaking specifically about America for a moment, although this holds for Australia too, listening to activists, black activists saying, you can say all you want about class, but race has the biggest effect on me on a day-to-day basis. A rich black person is in more danger in America than a poor white person. Poor white person who stands up for themselves is in danger. There is no two ways about it. But that's why there's solely focusing on class is fraught with problems. I think you got to keep an open mind. Yeah, and again, just because of my life experience, when I talk about politics, is very often in terms of class. Like when I get on a tear about how pissed off I am at the fucking Liberal Party in Australia, I'll often talk about the fact that their policies are fucking class warfare, because they are. The INGU card, the cashless welfare card, is brutal, nasty, unnecessary, humiliating class war. It's fucked. It doesn't make economic sense. It doesn't make social sense. It is a policy of cruelty and class war. But at the same token, someone who has a different life experience to me wants to tell me something, I try to listen. And I do regularly see people from, the left and the radical side who reflexively reject someone who says anything apart from the exact dogma that they believe in. Like I said, they mock intersectionality and identity politics. That's dumb. And it's like, well, fuck you. Megaleech, it is important that not have a mind so open that your brain falls out and you start believing 5G coronavirus conspiracies. Stella, you think the privilege to going to do the surprised Pikachu face when the proletariat finally snap? Yeah. Change is a coming one way or the other. Locust Trooper, I have not seen references to the libs waking up that the cashless card is fucked. But yeah. Yes, it is fucked. It's class warfare, and I fucking hate it. Doesn't affect me. I'm a really fucking high-paid IT contractor. I could afford to ignore it. It doesn't affect me or my family. But if I see something that I think is injustice and cruelty, I'm going to fucking speak out about it. Because fuck that noise. I'm really not into that obnoxious. I don't even think it's an abuse of the term libertarian, where the libertarians go like everyone for themselves type of stuff. They're not real libertarians. They're just fuckwit right-wingers who don't want to follow rules. They want to impose rules on other people, but they don't want the rules to apply to them. Estella, that is the classic point to why conservatives actually want to keep poor whites fighting with minorities to distract them of who their real enemy is. That was the thing, most notably in the US, the Republicans and the Southern strategy, and the explicit line that they imbue these angry, really downtrodden white people in really impoverished rural areas, is they really imbue them with, the poorest, most basic white person is still better than the most wealthy, affluent black person, and it's fucked. But divide and conquer rules. Ask the British Empire. The British Empire, for centuries, controlled populations orders of magnitude larger than their own with divide and conquer policies. It fucking works all the time. It always works. What was that, Zan? IT contractors survived after COVID-19. God, where are you working that you sacked 1,600 contractors? I don't want to know that. I'm working from home, my man. Zvan, look, despite the fact I'm a contractor, I am a big believer that companies should use far, far fewer contractors and consultants than they do, and they should invest far more in their permanent workforce. But ever since the 80s, this really sort of toxic, poisonous mentality of cost cutting has just grown and grown and grown, and permanent employees have just been increasingly treated as a liability. And it's absolute, just from a capitalist point of view, it's unsustainable. It's absolutely unsustainable and self-destructive. Depressing the discussion in Kalgoorlie about the Inju card. Oh yeah. No. Absolutely. There's a heavy racist element in our rural areas where they say, they've got to keep the black fellas off cash because they spend it on booze and they abuse the kids. Fucking Morrison said that in a press conference last week when people are saying, like, can you just straight up say you were wrong when you said slavery never existed in Australia, that was not true? And he just waffled, and he went off on this tear about, the bigger problem in the Indigenous communities is, domestic violence and alcoholism. He just flipped it from, he made the fatuous comment that slavery never existed in Australia when it fucking did. And he just flipped it to, it's all the black fellas' fault. They're doing it to themselves. And it's just like, fuck that guy. Fuck him so hard. Oh no, I'm not an engineer, Locust Trooper. I'm not a hardware guy. I'm a development guy. I do system documentation. I'm a business analyst. So I help people understand systems and use them better. Oh yeah, Invisible Chicken. That would be a classic. If your mum was a cleaner and over a decade or so, she would have just seen all her conditions undermined. And we are going to have full-on industrial war in the next couple of years as the LNP use COVID as their excuse to roll back anything remotely approaching protection for workers. Speaking of class warfare, it's going to get real ugly in the next couple of years. It's going to you finish all your drug classes, etc., but probation officers are still closed. Oh, wow. Wowzers, Jesus. Yeah, I've actually heard multiple variations of that people having to atone for various infringements. The bureaucracy and infrastructure isn't there at the moment because of COVID. It's just left with people not knowing what to do. We were talking about just as simply P-platers people trying to get their driver's license. As hard to do. And hey, Strictly Sega and Abigail, nice to see you. No, Locust Trooper, I'm not a coder. I'm like between the coders and the end users, and I translate between the two of them. I'm a translator, essentially. That's a really polite way to put it, Svan. The libs don't understand the difference between equality and equity with our native population. They don't give a shit. I fucking hate them so much. I hate them so much. Abigail's a coder. Oh, yeah, Abigail's serious tech. Abigail's a serious tech person. I ask Abigail my technical questions. In fact, we get things sorted out, and I get Abigail to help me either get a new computer or upgrade my existing one, because I really want to be able to edit in 4K, because my camera can shoot in 4K. It's a really nice camera, but my PC, it's not a laptop, it's a desktop, absolutely shits itself if I try and do anything with 4K. It's just like, nah, buddy. Nah, not going to happen, buddy. Out of the blue, Strictly Sega thinks drink's a good idea. I'm almost finished my blood orange juice. Like a trooper, what I earn is a difficult and convoluted thing, because I contract through my own company. So my company gets all the money, and then I pay, because I'm both a director of that company and an employee of that company. I pay myself a wage, but I also try and make everything possible a business expense, because if it's an expense that keeps the business running, I don't have to pay tax on that money. So yeah, if I get a new computer, that's like a tax write-off for me. So yeah. Oh wow, Svan, you moved from mainframe release management to project management in IT. Oh god, yes, mainframe shit would be, whoa man, that would be hard. That would be hard. Yeah. Project management, yeah, it would be a much better deal, definitely. But I was just thinking, like, I'd avoided upgrading my computer because the fuckhead Bitcoin miners had driven up the prices of processors and video cards, because you have to have a really high-powered machine to do the fucking cryptocurrency mining. And I thought, wait, I've got money in the bank. I can actually afford to upgrade my computer now. So yes, yeah, I kind of like, if I do a video, even not in 4K, but I use my editing software and apply some filters or whatnot in the editing software, it takes like a an hour, a minute to render or more. So if when I get one of my ranty videos, if it's 12, 15 longer minutes, it takes 12 to 24 hours to render the fucking video after I've edited it. Super annoying. I'd really like to just be able to edit in 4K and render relatively quickly. Oh, Mr. Gonzo, I said Bitcoin just as a thing. I don't know if there's any point in Bitcoin mining anymore, but they keep coming up with new cryptocurrencies all the time. Yes, Abigail, I know it's super slow. That's why I need to upgrade. But yes, my computer is just like not up to the task at all. Yeah. Strictly say if you use titles, if you use filters, if you use special effects, the render just goes fucking south. Oh, we're all getting our IT honesty out. Megaleech was in hardware and networks. Your brother's a games programmer. God, that'd be stressful. Kirsten, implementing new warehouse production IT system. Yes, that would be stressful. Logistics systems, because so much is riding on them and they're so complex, that is stressful. That is definitely stressful. Yeah, Mr. Gonzo, new currencies daily. Yeah, that makes sense. It's all bullshit, but anyway. Okay, Locust Trooper used to work in IT engineering, repairing computers. The early 2000s. Yeah, you can always make money in repairs, is what I've seen. You say mental health went downhill. Was that because of the work, or was it unrelated? I mean, because it can be really stressful work, and you sometimes just have to get out of it. I agree with you, Abigail. Games programming, the games industry is fucked. Megaleech, your brother worked on Call of Duty Warzone. Nice. See, L3, you're getting into really technical stuff that doesn't really mean anything to me. Stella, when you had a 65-inch 4K TV, you watched the ranty videos. It's amazing the details you could see foreign veins. If I actually shot in 4K, because those videos were just in HD, if I actually shot in 4K, it'd be every little pore in my skin. Alex Trooper, okay, workplace bullying. Yeah, that's the fucking worst, man. That is the fucking worst. I've had minor to middling problems with it in the past, but I know a lot of people have had very bad problems with it, and it's fucked. And what's particularly fucked is so many people downplay it and say, "Oh, what are you worried about? They're not actually physically." No. Hostile workplaces are just fucking shit. Ooh, L3, you're going to do Unreal Editor. L3, just to not really show my age, maybe I should stick with just HD instead of 4K. Yeah, strictly Sega, I need a new video card as well, but these fucking cryptocurrency miners drove the prices of video cards through the fucking roof. But I probably still should do it anyway. Yeah, oh, no, Gonzo, the games industry worldwide is horrifically abusive towards employees, runs them into the ground because they're in it for love, chews them up, spits them out. It's terrible. Good, Zvan. I'm fucking totally on board with you. Zero tolerance workplace bullying. Good. If you've had to make 3 formal complaints, then good. It's warranted. People get away with way too much shit. There's a Locust Trooper. You actually managed to get a disability pension before Abbott came in and fucked everything up. So, well, that worked in your favor anyway. Now, Stella, you're going to want to see in 4K. Oh, dear. That's interesting. You got distracted season 1 Game of Thrones Blu-ray. You could see the lace front on everyone's wig. Oh, what I heard when the really HD stuff first started, HD TVs and stuff started coming out, particularly apparently with some older TV shows, it showed how dodgy their makeup was. Like in HD, a lot of their makeup was really patchy, and you could see the lines along their hairline. I don't know how true that is, but that was what I heard. Abigail, so the video card thing was last year's problem. This year's video cards don't suffer. Manufacturers use an excuse. Oh, yeah. Why would they drop prices? For a year or two, they got away with ratcheting up their prices. Why would they bring them down? Yeah. Oh, well, I think I'll just bite the bullet because I've managed to. I've been very good fiscally, so I can probably afford to upgrade my computer. Just got to find out how and where, or if upgrading's a better idea than a whole new computer. Seems like it'd be less wasteful, but I don't know. Oh, okay, L3. You have 2K 24-inch pixel density, and that's awesome. Fat Locust Trooper. Abbott's policy tried to get you off the DSP, but they failed. Excellent. Good. Yeah, it's the concept when HD first started coming, people looked. Ugh. That is true, strictly Sega. I would use an expensive video card enough to justify it. Jesus Christ, what graphics card did you buy for $2,000 and $5,500? I'm not going to spend that much. That sounds fucking insane. Oh, you got a new laptop, Safa. Congratulations. Abigail has a 32-inch 2K monitor. Amazing. Nice. Yeah, I have a decent amount of RAM. I don't remember if it's 16 gig or 32 gig. But what I really need is a better video card and probably a better processor as well. Maybe more RAM. I don't know. Stella, with all the detail, if you watch the Blu-ray of Labyrinth, you can see when Jennifer Connelly is on wires and their green screen's terrible. Old green screen is terrible, actually. Yeah, no, fucking good on you, man, building your own house. That's looking after yourself. I'd like to see it. Ugh. Abigail, the best graphics card is still in the thousands of dollars. God damn. But okay, Abigail, I don't necessarily want best, but given that I've explained what I want. Yes, Abigail, definitely. Give me some tech consulting with restrictions easing. We'll have to organize that at some point. But just generally, given my desire is to be able to edit 4K video, what price range do you think that puts the video card in? Like, I don't want to be super flash and whatnot, but I want to be able to edit in 4K and not take too long to render. There's another mysterious figure coming into the kitchen, but I think they're staying on that side of the camera. Yes. Okay. Megaleech, in the Mile Creek Massacre day, did I actually go into it? I actually don't think I did. I think I might have gotten distracted. I'm sure I talked about it a bit, though. I don't know. Okay, so probably I can manage over $1,000. Just when bloody Svan was saying $5,500. I'm like, I'm not paying $5,500 for a fucking video card. Locust Trooper is a very kind offer for building a PC. But yeah, I think all I really need to do is up the video card in my existing one. I hugely appreciate the offer, man. It's great. But I'd feel really guilty as well. But yeah, I think all I really need is an upgraded video card in my existing one. L3, I might need to upgrade the CPU as well. Yeah, I know that was for you, Zvan. I don't know what high-end stuff you're doing. That's wild. That's wild. So at some point, I will have to look into. I think I'm going to commission Abigail to be my technical consultant. Yeah, that is a good general rule, Mr. Gonzo. More RAM's always good. Locust Trooper, you've never grown out of the repairing PCs. You're always doing upgrades on your own PC. Good to see. So what's that, Zvan? RTX 2060 Super 8GB onboard is the best bang for buck for editing. There you go. Dang. Yep, we've got it hard into the nerdy talk tonight. I love it. See, there you guys are arguing nerdy details, which I love, but it's like way above my head. L3 likes the RTX 2060 BOS width 320, but the bus width is important. See, I mean, this is what I love. People who really know their thing, just getting into the minutiae. It's all like flying over my head. Even though I work in IT, I'm not hardcore hardware person. I mean, I understand the difference between these things. Oh, Locust Trooper, you're upgrading yourself to the new GeForce 3080. Yep. See, the technology just keeps going, and I probably should. I mean, I would have been so much better off because I've had my current PC for, I don't know, a couple of years. Young Ms. Angry actually built it. She ordered all the parts and built it. I should have got more expensive parts back then, but there you go. Ooh, Strictly Sega and NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2080 Founders Edition. Great card. Okay. God, okay, Zvan, your workstation is a 10-core HD, 64 gig RAM, 4 channels, 3 RAID. Jesus, dude. You're like NASA. Cost you 6K just for the box. Damn. You're like fucking NASA, man. That is wild stuff. That is absolutely wild stuff. You got a 4K monitor, 10-bit color accurate, cost 2.6K. Wowzers. I love it. Everyone's comparing rigs, and it's very cool. I used to be kind of obsessed with latest and greatest. Locust Trooper, my postal box, I'd have to look it up. GPO box, I've got it in my own contacts. Where is it? Where is it? No. Thought I had it saved here. There it is. Why couldn't I find it? Okay, my GPO box is GPO box 3290, Melbourne 3001. Safa, if I get parcels, they just put a card in my post office box and say, you've got a parcel. Oh, yeah, Abigail, that is a pretty fair comparison. It's the same, whether it's cars, whether it's PCs. Once people are really into it, start comparing it. Does sound like a dick size competition. Right. Well, I don't know. Maybe we reached a bit of a limit of Moore's law. Was when this computer scientist, this is far back as the 90s, I think, he saw the rate at which performance is improving, and he said, like this rate of innovation continues. Basically, every 2 years, the power of personal computers would double while at the same time their price would halve. And that's, just it hasn't held specifically, but in general terms, this is a very, very extended period where every year or two, the computers were basically doubling in speed and halving in price. But I agree, strictly, Sega, that I don't think it happens at quite that rate anymore. So what do I think about the PS5? I've only just seen screen pictures of what it's going to look like. I mean, yeah, sure, it's going to be flash. It's going to be brilliant. It's going to be a huge turbo-powered machine. It'll probably, if I ever get one, it'll probably be at least 2 years after it comes out. Wow, Mr. Gonzo, did you just look up Moore's Law actually came out in 1959? Hey, Zeus. Oh, man, Locust Trooper, you're a fucking legend. You're making me blush sending me presents, but, here's you. But, yeah, I mean, performance is definitely better year on year, but there was the 90s and the noughties, the rate of improvement in home computers was fucking mind-blowing. A lot of the improvement, I think, in the last 20 years has been in laptops, because laptops used to lag so far behind desktops in terms of power and performance. But more recently, laptops have essentially kept pace with desktops thanks to the miniaturization of parts. So, yeah. Well, of course, now we've got to wait for quantum computing to take off. And then, all bets are off. Everything's next level after that. Mr. Gonzo, your first Intel processor was a 300 megahertz Celeron in the late 90s. Yeah, well, like I said, my first computer had a 33 megahertz Intel processor in it. It was a tiddly bonk machine. Had 4 RAM slots in it. And when I bought it, there were 4 1 megabyte RAM chips in there. And then I got a guy who helped me, and he eventually changed them over to 4 megabyte chips instead of 1 megabyte chips. So it was like super powerful then. Again, old memories. Everyone's talking about technology and stuff. Remember when Internet Explorer would crash Windows 95? Oh my God. Windows 95 was such a huge leap for Microsoft. But it was buggy as fuck for a while. Oh, are we getting NBN to Electric Boogaloo, have we? I've missed that. I love everyone talking about their first PCs. Like, I still think it was funny that, like I said, one of the earliest computers I played on was a TRS-80 that you loaded programs with cassette tape. That's how the information was stored. And it would take ages. You'd have to play this whole cassette through to play a really fucking simple text-based game. How Jesus, it's just like how much shit would blow your mind. Like, Mrs. Angry's next door casually playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is a couple of years out of date. And here we're talking about the PS5. Can you imagine like a PS5 and a new game designed for the PS5 on one of those big as fuck, like 8K TVs? Just absolutely does my head in. What's the question? Locust Trooper, is my area HFC getting the 1 gigabit 500 upload upgrade this August? Deer Parks? I don't know, man. Maybe. I live in a Liberal Party seat. You think they'd actually roll out some bloody benefits? This whole strip of suburbs where I live is a whole strip of Liberal Party seats. All old rich people live around here. So you reckon I'd get the benefits of that? Really? I have not heard talk of upgrading here, but I haven't been paying that much attention. Oh, we're getting other weird things. So you could say the old ColecoVision, you'd take Atari add-on back then. Strictly Sega, are you asking what's branch stacking? Like what the guy got in trouble for in Victoria? Okay, what branch stacking is a political practice. See, the political parties, it's not just the state and the federal party. There's the branches. There's the individual branches where they vote on things like who, they get to vote on who's going to be the local member as to represent. And so everyone who's a member in that branch is gets to vote on certain policy. One of the biggest ones is selecting an MP for the area. Branch stacking is when somebody basically ships in a bunch of people who aren't really party members in that branch, but pays for their membership, gets them to come to a meeting, tells them how to vote, so the vote comes out the way they want. And so, yes, powerful vested interests in the political party essentially enroll a bunch of fake members in a branch so they can end up controlling how all the votes go in that branch, so they get to control the direction of the party. And this guy who just got sacked by Dan Andrews was mad for the branch stacking, apparently. Scummo only got his seat in Parliament because of branch stacking from the Liberal Party. It's a really widespread and not very honourable practice. It's not very in the spirit of democracy, quite honestly. So, and it's possibly criminal. And no, Safra, I'm not a party member. I could never tolerate being in a political party. I'd get so fucking angry at them. Catherine, I didn't move here because it's a Liberal seat. It just happens to be a Liberal seat where I moved. I haven't seen any benefit from it, so I don't know. Zvan, have I tried the chocolate cocktail? Was that like we were talking about making like a chocolate ganache? Because if that's the one we're talking about, I haven't made that yet. I've got to experiment with that. Because I like the sound of it. Yes, Arthur, Turnbull was branch stacking. It's really widespread branch stacking. L3 got an appointment. Thanks for dropping in. See you another time. Oh, Local Stripper, your local member was one of a couple of factional allies of the guy who got sacked have resigned because they're like implicated in it. And they've gone, I'm completely innocent, but I don't want to be a distraction to the government. So I'm resigning from my ministerial position. And they hope that they avoid too much scrutiny because they've fallen on their sword. It's dodgy behavior. Although, what's really interesting is where the recordings that got this guy in trouble came from. Because he got recorded in what he thought was a private conversation, but someone basically knew the shit he was going to say and recorded it so they could take him out. Yeah. So, Zvan, the Ganesh one. Post an example. Yeah, if there's an example, I definitely want to see it. Safi, wish we had a federal ICAC. The fucking Liberals will not allow it. The Liberals and Nationals are so scared of an independent corruption investigator. Whereas you look at, somehow Labor's like, no, yeah, do it. Let's do it. I thought, God, Labor must have cleaned up their act if they are good with independent corruption investigator. There's the thing, Dan Andrews with this guy, she's going, okay, there's allegations of stuff that's like bad as fuck. It would not be right for me to do the investigation. I'm handling it to the independent. I'm handing it to the cops and the independent corruption investigator. So yeah. Yes, Megaleech, I think there were enough votes in the Senate to support an ICAC, but because Scummo and his crowd control the lower house, they didn't even allow debate on it. It's just like, you just look so fucking dodgy when you go, no, an independent corruption investigator is a bad idea. It's like, dude, most people can only think of one reason why you wouldn't want an independent corruption investigator. So for how many years has Andrews lived in Melbourne? I have no idea. I didn't really know. How long has Dan Andrews lived in Melbourne? I didn't really know anything about him before he became Premier. Premier, does Dan Andrews deserve his job? The Murdoch media, they hate Dan Andrews' success so much. They hate it so much. It's so fucking funny. Because, but the Murdoch media in particular were determined that he would not be Premier, and they're so fucking angry that he is such a fucking weird looking bloke. He is such a weird looking bloke, quite honestly. Okay, so early political career, election to Parliament, Legislative Assembly seat of Mulgrave in 2002. He worked in the Steve Bracks government, and then he was in cabinet with Bracks, and then he was opposition leader. So he was opposition leader in 2010. So he was opposition leader in 2010, won the election in 2014, and then he won a second term. Good on him. So where's Mulgrave? It's an inner seat. There you go. Mulgrave's in southeast of Melbourne. Has the suburbs of Mulgrave and Noble Park North, parts of Dandenong North. So it's a bit further north than where I live. What am I talking about? It's east of where I live. Oh, Zvan. No, it's, Labor with their shopping bags full of money. Libs have got exactly the same thing. neither of them can really hold their head up. Okay, Locust Trooper, your local member who's useless, Marlene Caruso. Yeah, she's stepped aside. Oh yeah, I saw that absolute dead shit on Twitter trying to call him Chairman Dan, and the fucking Murdoch media do it as well. They're just so angry at how popular he is, and the fact that he got elected for promising particular policies, and then when he got elected, he actually started delivering on policies which the Conservatives really fucking hated. And then they were really miffed when he got re-elected. As well, dude, because he made promises and he delivered on them. Just because you didn't like them, the electorate did. It's absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, he like any politician, he has a bunch of failings. I could point to a whole bunch of decisions he's made that I really quite strongly disagree with. But on the general fucking scale of politicians, he's pretty good. So, yeah. And it's just, it never stops being funny to me how much the Conservatives cannot fucking deal with his success. Like they are super, super angry. Oh, so if you're saying Dan's originally from Wangaratta, there you go. Wangaratta conservative country area, is it? Yeah, but I don't know, man. You'd be surprised. Swings happen. Sometimes quite conservative areas give you surprises. Same as sometimes Labor heartland places give you surprises. Oh, yeah. No, Stella, they do. They really hate that he showed up, Scotty, from marketing during the bushfires and again with COVID. And the fucking slander they've been saying about Andrews's COVID responses is just fucking wild. And they're so out of touch with the public. Like the way the Conservatives attack Andrews, they're so clearly completely out of touch with the general population. It really, really does my head in, actually, that they're so out of touch. I'm just going to look. I was talking about roller coasters before. Is there a roller coaster cocktail? Okay, that is not a cocktail. That's fucking shit. Amaretto and grapefruit juice. That is not a cocktail. Sounds fucking terrible. Someone else's roller coaster. Oh, two different sites have the same shitty... Oh, because this one's just referencing the other one. Amaretto and grapefruit juice. Gross. That seems to be consistent. God, it's in lots of places. Amaretto and grapefruit juice. Gross. I'm just saying gross. I don't know if it's gross. I had it. Safi, your mum's local member's a Nat. Oh, yeah, Locust Trooper. Tony Abbott losing his seat was fucking hilarious. It was the same as John Howard lost his seat in the last election he contested. Really unexpected things can happen. Yeah, okay, I'm glad you agree, Mr. Gonzo. Amaretto and grapefruit juice sounds fucking gross. And it's not a cocktail. A fucking liqueur and fruit juice is just some fucking gross teenager thing. It's just gross. We're getting back into the discussion from the other day. What are you snobby about with cocktails? Well, amaretto and fucking grapefruit juice. I'm snobby about that. Zvan, have you done amaretto and Dr. Pepper? That sounds like it might at least be interesting. Musical evidence. I love that as well. A list of things that start with S. Sydney, Sky News, Scummo, Stupid Neocons. I like that. Invisible Chicken, even though you don't drink, you were looking at cocktail menus. Cocktail menus are fun, man. If people put together a creative cocktail menu. It's really fun. Even if you're not drinking off it, I still think it's fun. Safa, yes, Dubbo is very National Party, although there have been independents elected in the area, and Labor likes to give it a go. Okay, Zvan, so Amaretto and Dr. Pepper works well. I don't have Amaretto or Dr. Pepper. I don't even know if I like Dr. Pepper. For some reason, I always associated it with like sarsaparilla and root beer, which I don't like. But I understand it is actually quite different. I don't have Amaretto, but which is a almond liqueur. But I do have a macadamia liqueur there. But I don't have the Dr. Pepper. You can swap things out. I'm thinking drinks. I'm probably make a video tomorrow night during the live stream to put on my cocktail channel later in the week. I think I will do it for Martini Day. And I think I'll do all Australian ingredients, Australian gin and Australian vermouth in the cocktails. Yep, that was what I was actually saying. I think a cocktail has to have 3 ingredients, and wine spritzers. I get, a hot summer day, especially if you're day drinking, a spritzer of the various things. It's just whatever, and maybe sparkling wine, maybe soda water, and lots of ice. But Smart, another fave weird combo is aged tequila and ginger nuts. Okay. Oh, dude, yeah, okay. I personally, I love the idea of the amount of experimentation it would have taken to decide that's a good combo. That speaks to a whole bunch of experimentation. Mega Leach, do you think Trump's stimulus check for COVID was modeled after the Aussie stimulus back in the day? It's basic economics. If people have no money at all, the entire economy collapses. So it makes sense for the government to increase expenditure, even though that increases government debt, because it keeps the economy turning over, and you can help avoid a total economic collapse, which I don't think we're going. I think we're going to get a global recession like we've never fucking seen, anyone alive has seen. Because I don't think anyone alive really remembers the Depression. Actually, that's not true. There would have been people who were kids in the Depression who probably remember it really well, because it was fucked. So I do fear that we are going to suffer really quite severe global economic impact. Yes. This invisible chicken on the cocktail menu is one something like grumpy old granny, cinnamon fire whiskey, another type of whiskey, and apple juice. Well, actually, speaking of things, the one I made last night, I milk clarified, again, one with a fun name, No Country for Orange Men. I'll show you, because I did actually finish the clarification of it. And it was a very dark color, and now it's very pretty color. Very bright and clean. As it was such a dark red, it was almost opaque. And now it's this very light orange color. Clarification worked a treat. Abigail, in Soviet Russia, package stimulate you. Yes, I don't think we want to dwell too much on Soviet economic expertise, ridiculous punitive bureaucracy that led them to fucking falsely report everything for years, which caused famines and whatnot. Zvan, I've got a slight obsession with Skull Head decanters. I do actually have some Crystal Head vodka bottles that I kept and use as decanters. They're obviously much bigger than this. This just came from like a $2 shop. just has a cork in it. And I have all sorts of different sizes of skull bottles, from teeny tiny ones to great big ones. And this is a pretty small. This holds like 2 drinks. That's like 2 cocktails in there. So yeah, Stella Ionano as a kid during the Depression had a photo of her standing in front of a humpy they lived in. It's made out of kerosene cans, and she only passed away 3 years ago. Yes, I realised as I was saying, no one remembers the Depression, but there would be people still alive who were kids in the Depression, and pretty fucking savage times. Invisible Chicken. It was the Angry Granny, Fireball cinnamon whiskey, Dubliner honeycomb whiskey, and apple juice. Interesting. Locust Strip. What happens in a Great Depression? Well, unemployment goes to 30 to 50%. Economy crashes completely. Lots and lots and lots and lots of homeless, destitute people. Just very, 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 very bad times. Kirsten, you had Skullhead decanters at your wedding. Nice. Classy. I'm not really into cinnamon whiskey, although I still have, where is it? I thought it was just here. Here it is. I haven't used these. These are chili rock candy. They have actual chili oil in them. And they're very red, obviously. So they make the drink very red. In the past, I've put these in a few things like in vodka. But yeah, actually putting this in bourbon. So yeah, making my own sort of Fireball whiskey. Oh, speaking of which, Kirsten, I meant to say earlier, my whole lead in the conversation, what I did actually get today. This was through a few random things. Look what I actually got. The Starward Twofold Australian whiskey. So, yes, I'm getting more and more Aussie with my drink shelf there. I was going to get this when I used up the bourbon, which is almost gone. But by random chance, I was in Dan Murphy's today, and because I'm a member there, they had a members special on. Abigail, big question. What's Aussie whiskey like? Should I do a tasting? I should do a tasting, shouldn't I? What did I do the tasting of the other day? Rums, wasn't it? I did tasting. Ooh, read the batch code. Tell you if you work the line. Enter your. Ooh, is that your unique bottle code? Is it that one? It's the thing that says enter your unique bottle code online at starward.com.au. Is that the one we're talking about? Truly Melbourne born and bred. It is a really nice label. Wheat and malted barley. Matured in Australian red wine barrels. So it's a flavour-forward Australian whiskey matured in Australia red wine barrels. This ambitious expression marries 2 quintessentially Australian grains, wheat and malted barley, and elementally matures them in Melbourne's intensely reactive climate. Twofold promises to deliver an appropriate whiskey with bright aromas of spiced vanilla, tropical fruits, and cereals. The palate is rounded, carrying hints of red apples and berries. Finish is delicate with soft tannins and lingering red fruits. Oh, the one on the bottom of the bottle says 6. It's either a 6 or a 9. Or, yeah. Is that what you're talking about? It's the only thing I can see on the bottom. It says 70 centilitres, and there's a. Actually, if that's 70, that would be a 9. Oh, wow. Strictly Say you got a big box of Laserdiscs in the mail. Nice. Something like a Melbourne pub refusing to stop colonial beer from Western Australia. Okay. I'm gonna do whiskey tasting. I'm gonna do comparisons because I've got a few. So. Okay, I'm going to put this back in the fridge. Make this another time. Rickman's Rye, my old-fashioned. All right. So I'm going to shot glass. Ugh. And I want to be able to rinse the shot glass out. So this will do. Okay. The equivalent of a finger bowl for rinsing my shot glass. And I want a little thing of water to rinse my palate. Ugh. Okay, filtered water. Here we go. Okay. So I'm all ready. Oh, okay. Ooh, Strictly Sega highlights Bringing Up Baby, the old Cary Grant movie, and a Bob Hope movie, Call Me Bwana. Oh, I bet that's really politically incorrect. Ooh, that's an interesting one. It's fun. Used to be able to get a good New Zealand whiskey at Dan's from an old distillery from Otago. Ugh. Oh, okay. So, just saw Kirsten along the base, should be on the back, just below the label. Oh, right. Okay. No, I can see it. Where's my phone? I need brighter light on it. Okay. That's so hard to see. L1T1 10 4 20016. It's really hard to see. There I can see it. L1T1 10:43 20016. There you go. I got there eventually. Put the light on the right angle. So, okay. So I've got blended Scotch, bourbon, Jim Beam, Jameson's Irish, Rittenhouse Rye, and Starward. Actually, that's very sensible too. Strictly saying it, I could have taken a picture with the phone; would have made it easier to read. But I got there in the end. Oh, okay. You supervised that line, Kirsten. Didn't actually stick the label on. So, okay. A question of advice, Kirsten. I'm gonna, for fun, do a comparative taste test of these different whiskies. Should I do the Starward first or last? That's the big question. To best appreciate its flavour, should it be the first or the last one that I taste, or somewhere in the middle? No, don't want to be too complicated. Should it be first or last? Strictly Sega says last. That was my initial impulse to make it the last one I tasted. I'm just going to defer to the expert. I'm going to get the seal off. What have I got? I've got blended Scotch, Jim Beam bourbon, Jameson's Irish, Rittenhouse Rye, and Starward. So, Scotch whiskey, Irish whiskey, American bourbon, American rye, and Australian whiskey. Although this bloody seal thing is... Ow, that went under my nail. Okay. Do it first so my palate's fresh. All right. Then I will do that. Right. So, Starward. My first go of the Starward whiskey. Actually, I believe I have tasted this at some point in the past, but a very long time ago. Like a trade show. All right. So first the nose. What's the nose? No, I don't have Canadian Club Abigail. Kirsten, the seal wouldn't bloody behave for me. Oh, it's really gentle. You know, some whiskies, you feel like you burn your nostril hairs if you snort them too hard. Oh, this is really gentle and fruity. It's got a real whiskey smell in there, but it's really gentle. That's a good start. That is a very good start. All right. It's going to have a teeny, not getting drunk, just having a teeny taste. It's a nice color. Ooh. Yeah, it's got, it tastes good going down. Tastes good going down. It's got a lot of what because I'm not a huge, I'm not a huge whiskey expert or anything. It's got a lot of what I'd regard as a really typical, more on the Scotch whiskey side of things. It's got spicy notes, not in an unpleasant way. Oh, it's really smooth, and it tastes. Sometimes I find whiskies kind of catch up with you going down. That's good. It's got really nice spicy notes, and it does have this really sort of fruity aroma to it. It tastes really good going down, actually. Whereas some whiskies really catch you going in. Like, okay, for comparison, I'll rinse my palate. Actually, for a quick comparison, what I also have is the Starward Old Fashioned Premixed Cocktail, which won a prize for best premixed cocktail in the world. So, how different is a Starward Old Fashioned to a Starward whiskey? It's definitely got a different aroma. God, this is good. It's got a sweetener in it. It's much sweeter. It's fucking good. Yeah. Whoa, that was pretty good. Strictly Sega. You got to go. Thanks for dropping by. See you next time. Safa, I always have a big dinner before a drink, but my tip is don't drink spaghetti if you're going to drink a lot. Safa, is a Starward new fashion? I'm not sure what you mean by that, man. It's fruity from the wine barrels. Yeah, you can really get that out of it. All right. It was very interesting doing the Starward Old Fashioned straight after the Starward whiskey. You really taste the elements that make the Old Fashioned a cocktail rather than just being straight whiskey. The sweetener and the additional spices from the bitters. All right. I'm going to try. I didn't drink spaghetti. I said if you're going to drink a lot, don't eat spaghetti. So, a blended Scotch. There's slightly more in there than I meant to, but no biggie. It's only a few mils. No, still don't know what you mean, Safa. The old fashioned is a cocktail. In fact, it's like the cocktail. It's like the original cocktail. It's a spirit with a sweetener and some bitters. Must be strong. It's 40%. I said drink, did I? Okay. There you go. Sure. Ooh, Kirsten, you made some more house-made bitters today. Nice. I said drink spaghetti. Okay. I said drink spaghetti. Yeah. So this is a blended scotch. Doesn't really have the fruity aroma that the Starward has. It's nice. A bit more. It's a bit more flowery than. It's not bad. This is a bit sharper than the Starward. The Starward tastes better going down. I'll tell you what. Yeah, this is definitely sharper than the Starward. So, I mean, that's going to come down to personal taste, whether that's a good thing. But for my money, the Starward tastes much better going down. I don't have to mark this timestamp. I believe you. I believe you that I said drink spaghetti. All right. So that's Scotch. Let's go now Irish. L. Jamison's. So little sip of Jamison's. What sort of different territory do we move into with Irish whiskey? Right. Let's see. You see that actually really deep inhale on that actually burns the nostrils a bit more. Maybe I just inhale too deeply. That's not bad. Yeah, see, I don't really have the vocabulary for this. That the Irish whiskey goes down easier than that Scotch did. Still a bit sharper on the palate than the Starward is. All right, Jim Beam, one of the big bourbon brands from the US. So, Kirsten, the Starward New Old Fashioned is a fresh twist on the classic Old Fashioned. Yes, with the Aussie ingredients. All sourced within a day's drive from Port Melbourne Distillery. Nice. Zvan, I don't mind the really smoky Islay whiskies. They also tend to be the more expensive ones. I'm not a big Scotch guy, and I just use it for cocktails. So getting an Islay doesn't really seem to be worth the expense to me. Anywho, let's go with Bourbon. Nothing for. Oh. Yeah, so you're getting the real sort of honeyish aroma from bourbon, much more honeyed than any of the others, the Australian or the Scotch or Irish. Safa, big question. Is expensive alcohol always better tasting? What I think, and I'd also defer to Kirsten, working in the field here, but you get what you call diminishing returns. If you charted a graph and the higher up was the better tasting it is, and the across was how expensive it is, like really cheap stuff is usually really shitty, and you start spending more and it goes up, 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 and then it starts to level out. And whether it's better or not is a matter of opinion, but you get into diminishing returns really easily. Personally, I don't think any sane person, because you can get whiskies that actually run into the thousands of dollars. I don't think any sane person can really. Oh, yes, Kirsten, when you reopen the distillery bar, we'll definitely. I'll be there for the tour, definitely. Stella, when you say super expensive, what price range are you saying? Because it sounds like you are experienced there. See, bourbon is much, much lighter and sweeter than any of the others. The Scotch, Jameson. Makes it good for cocktails. Bit of bite on the over $100 for a bottle. Yeah, but you see, even you say, you want to spend $100 bottle of whiskey. A $500 bottle is not necessarily going to be worth it, though. Locust Trooper, is it cold tonight? I haven't eaten. Well, I've been inside, man. So, Zvan, I reckon vodka diminishing returns happens way quicker than whiskeys. I mean, that's just personal opinion, but I think the diminishing returns on vodka happens way quicker than whiskeys. Temperature outside at the moment says it's still 13 outside here, man. Must be much colder in your suburb. You can get expensive beers too, Safa. Right. So what? Oh, okay. Saved till last. The scary one. The Rittenhouse Rye. Rye, much spicier than bourbon. And this is higher proof too. Not a huge amount, but it is higher proof. Again, good in cocktails, Rittenhouse Rye. Look, I reckon this winter is colder and wetter than we've had the last couple of years. And we can't say, oh, it's been more than 30, 40 years. No, I think once you get into the $50 to $80 range for vodkas, I reckon that's about as expensive as you can justify, really. Because I reckon if you blind taste tested people on more expensive vodkas, they wouldn't really be able to pick them out. Whiskies is a totally different thing, and gins to an extent as well. But vodka, and some people reckon they can really taste the difference with tequilas as well. And I'm a million miles from being an expert in tequilas, so I don't know. So this is, anyway, Rittenhouse Rye. Definitely does not. This is not one I drink straight. Definitely does not have the sweetness of bourbon. Holy cow. And you're just that extra proof bite. Good in cocktails, would not. This is definitely the last one I'd drink straight. Oh, wowzers. Man, if you want some kick, in your whiskey, Rittenhouse Rye. Look, Distributor, I think I'm going to have a very hot summer. I think we're going to have a fucking brutal summer. I'm really hoping we don't get bushfires like last summer, but it really fucking concerns me. Well, see, Zvan, that would be fun if it had access to a range of vodkas, because that's your thing. I would really be interested in a blind taste test. But yeah, I don't know tequilas at all. And I hear people say all the time there is really quite big differences with the expensive tequilas. This is a good question, Locust Trooper. Which one I hate most, summer or winter? I think extreme cold is easier to deal with, like, just wearing warmer clothes, than extreme heat is if you don't have reliable air conditioning. So I think that a cold winter is more survivable than a hot summer. I'm a big fan of the intermediate, like spring and autumn weather where it's like mid to high 20s, no strong wind. I'm a real moderate weather guy. I like that, Kirsten. The twofold developed to be accessible option for Australian whiskies, which are offering 150 more. Yeah, this like they got it on special. This is why I was asking you the questions about special, because I got it as a members special at Dan's for like $10 off. And I was going, ooh, how much am I screwing the Starward Distillery by doing that? But I did it anyway. Oh wow, Stella chocolate tequila is amazing. Don't know how to get it in Australia. I have not heard of chocolate tequila. That's very interesting. Not just sucking up to Kirsten because this is her mob, but in terms of really pleasant drinking, it's pretty bloody good. And it's such a gentle aroma on it. And it just tasted really good going down. And it was really interesting to do the Starward Old Fashioned after the Starward whiskey, because it really brings up the differences between the whiskey and the cocktail. So the sweeteners and the locally made bitters. This is very nice too. In fact, the only one of them that I just would not drink straight is the Rittenhouse Rye, but it is good in cocktails if you want to sort of kick it up a notch with a bit more bite. So what are we saying, one? Is it tequila with cocoa beans or legit processed chocolate? Because if it's the former, it sounds awesome. That's nice, because it's okay that I got it on special because you'd rather I drink it rather than something else. Cold in the Gold Coast next week. Oh, only maximums to 16 or 17. They'll hate that. Stella, you once had it in a Mexican restaurant in Ballarat, of all places. The distributor was in Laverton, but not available to the public. Look, now I'm going to look this up. Chocolate tequila, of all things. Okay, sorry, a random thing popped up here and I want to... Worst customer calls to a mighty stir after sharing a photo of a recent supermarket return. Sharing on Facebook, it revealed a receipt as long as my arm. While the item only took up one line, the docket appeared to measure 40 centimeters. It was literally buying a single item and got this 40 centimeter long docket. Okay, that is pretty weird. Okay. Anyway, I was going to look up chocolate tequila. Chocolat tequila. That's Petron Cafe. Mocha tequila. Mr. Black Cold. So it's bringing up a lot of coffee ones. Oh, here we go. Olmeca. Olmeca tequila fusion dark chocolate. Oh yeah, Mar Azul tequila, chocolate tequila. Handcrafted using only the finest cacao beans, harvested in the... I always pronounce this wrong. Alexa, I've been told how to pronounce that properly. Mar Azul tequila. I wonder if you could order that. Oh my God. Okay, this crowd do chocolate tequila, banana tequila, coconut, almond, mint, pomegranate, and coffee tequila. Damn. Aroma, full, rich, savory chocolate. Taste, semi-sweetened dark chocolate, smooth, mild, but distinctive taste. Finish, lingering fudge with a long, smooth finish. So... Wow. Okay, the website's responding really slowly. So it's got a buy now button, but it doesn't seem to work. Don't know if it's just their website. About us, contacts, buy tequila. Maybe their mobile website just doesn't work. I'll look them up on the laptop just to see if that's any better. Chocolate tequila. We've got caramel tequila at Dan Murphy's for $60. A mocha tequila at Liquorland for $87. Okay, this is the same website. Mar Azul Tequila. See if it lets me buy it. Okay, buy now. No, their fucking website doesn't work, or they don't let you buy outside of the US or something. Oh well. What is this one? Olmeca Tequila Fusion Dark Chocolate. That must be American prices, $29. I don't know if you're even allowed to import. If you're allowed to buy booze overseas and you ship to Ontario. Sorry, we're unable to ship to Canada. Sorry, we're unable to ship to the US at present. What the fuck are they if they can't ship to the... Sure, maybe they can. Maybe that's Australian money. Jesus, that's a cheap fucking tequila. I don't hold out a lot of hope for it. $29. Ooh, Henry used to work at Casa de Vino as the best tequila for sale in Melbourne. Okay. Australian government said no. Okay. There you go. Okay, Casa. Now I want to look up Casa de Vino. Where is that? Casa de Vino. Port Melbourne. Okay. What are they pitching? Some Japanese whiskies? Sherry? Okay, well now I'm going to look at spirits, mezcal, tequila. What tequilas do they have? Now we're just talking tequilas. Casa Noble tequila? Anejo tequila? Well, there's some cute bottles. I do like it when they do interesting bottles. Ooh, that's what we like. A $2,800 tequila. $2,800. God damn. Now, there's no way that's worth that. Trombo Blanco. Lots of out of stocks. Lots of out of stock. Geez, there's a few bottles that look remarkably like dildos, honestly. Wow, they've got a lot of the website and over 2/3 of it's out of stock. But they don't seem to have a chocolate one. Agave, Aneja tequila, Plata, Mexican tequila, Reposado tequila, pomegranate liqueur with tequila. No, they don't seem to have any chocolate tequila. It is 10 o'clock already. Time flies. Yeah. All right. Uwajifans van cocoa, roasted, malted and raw cocoa, reminiscent of the traditional mole, is infused into Tanteo's 100% agave tequila, resulting in peppery, dark, malted cocoa taste in Tanteo cocoa. Ooh, now you want that. This is what looking up stuff online does to you, makes you want to buy it. All right, good night, all. Managed to do another night without making a cocktail. Did do a whiskey tasting, though. Probably less than one shot overall, though. And I'm congratulating myself with a thumbs up for the Starward purchase because it's really good. I've really got to try it in a couple of cocktails. I tell you what I'm going to make. It's a variation on a what do you call it? Negroni, where you, instead of using gin, you use whiskey. And I want to do one with all Australian ingredients. So it's going to be whiskey and vermouth. Wait a second, I'll get the recipe. Boulevardier. Boulevardier. Okay, so a Boulevardier is traditionally it's a bourbon or rye and Campari and vermouth. So I'm going to do it all Australian. I'll do it with Starward, the Okar Amaro, and an Australian vermouth, probably Maidenai. Or I might do the other one I have, the Regal Rogue. But see, is a name on it. A boulevardier was a French term for man about town, literally someone who strolls the boulevards. So it was a flattering term, the boulevardier. You're saying try the whiskey with Fever Tree tonic. Okay, I've got some Fever Tree. All right, that's something I will do. But because it's going to be all Aussie, I want to give it an Aussie name. And what occurred to me is Boulevardier is a French thing. And we often refer to the Paris end of Collins Street in Melbourne. It's the end of Collins Street where all the really expensive designer stores are. So I'm thinking of calling an Australian boulevardier Collins Street. I'm open to, if someone can come up with a better name for an Australian boulevardier. Is there Australian term? See, if I was, because it's going to be about walking. If I was a New Zealander, I might call it a rambler because that's what they call people who go bushwalking. Maybe I call it the walk. Oh, the walkabout. Call it the walkabout. Yes, that's better than Collins Street. See, you all gave me the idea, even though you didn't say anything. Just talking to you. Yes, no, I'm gonna do an Australian boulevardier and call it a walkabout. There you go. That's coming. English one night in Collins Street. Now, the reason I went Collins Street is because there's a Paris end of Collins Street. Yes, Kirsten, that makes perfect sense. In the distillery, you call it a Bertie Street because that's the street you're on. I think I'll call it, no, I'm definitely calling it a walkabout. The Australian boulevardier will be the walkabout. Definitely doing that. That's going to be a cocktail on my YouTube channel as well. Because got to be showing off the Aussie produce. That's my plan anyway. Yes, so cool. Right, so tomorrow night I'm probably going to do a martini one with Australian content. And Friday night I might make a video during the live stream to maybe put up on the weekend or next week a walkabout, an Australian boulevardier. All right, I feel accomplished having come to a decision. There we go. That's a thing that's going to happen. All right, look after yourself, fabulous people. You're all awesome. And as always, it's been great spending time with you. And I shall, in all likelihood, be on tomorrow night. Sorry. Stella's going in. Never ventured up the Paris end of Collins Street until you had to for work. Bush pigs aren't welcome in front of Louis Vuitton. Oh, harsh. Good night, one and all. Look after yourselves. Hope to see you again soon. Ooh, okay. So Kirsten's going the absolute high-end Aussie Boulevardier is Maiden Eyes Sweet Vermouth and the Starward Single Malt. Well, that's for a future. That's the was it Henry always say a certified banger. That's for a future one. I have to get those ingredients together. I'll improvise for then. So take care, one and all. Looking forward to seeing you again sometime soon. But I will say goodbye.